This here is the performance of my stock portfolio over the last 6 months. As you can see, my portfolio is up 139% compared to the S&P at 26.88, the NASDAQ at 40.49, and the Dow at 18.37. How is it then that my portfolio is outperforming 5x the S&P 500, which is the measure of the success of any stock portfolio? How is it that that happens? Well, I'm using AI, and I did a video last week. It was prompted by Norm, who wrote me in the comments that said that he felt he could do as well as I am, and all he had to do was put a prompt, which he put forward, and here it is, on ChatGPT for $20 a month, and he could produce whatever number of stocks he chose to that would tell him the stocks that would give him a return of something in excess of 25% over the next year. And I went ahead and I gave it to Samantha, my AI agent, which I pay $216 a month to, and it came up and looked at his parameters and gave me 30 stocks. I then went through those 30 stocks and set my specific parameters rather than Norb's, and I came down to 4 of them that I felt I needed to look into that might meet the parameters I set forward to make it into my portfolio. And he came up with GLBE, DraftKings, AppLovin, and DoorDash. Those were the 4 of the 30 that I would consider for my portfolio. So with that in mind, then what I did was, well, first of all, let me share with you. When I put this out, I said, okay, I will send you a link that will give you the 30 stocks that my Samantha produced under Norb's parameters, and I'll give it to you. Just send me your email address. You went into the link, you gave me your email address, and I sent it. Well, out of the people who watched that video, less than 5% sent me their email address, and I was shocked. I thought, here you are giving people access to knowledge that could change their lives, and less than 5% were willing to share their email address to get that knowledge. That struck me. So then I went and I asked, well, maybe that isn't so strange. And so I asked ChatGPT, how many millionaires are there in the world? And they said it's roughly 58 million, which represents 1.5% of the world's population. And I said, well, the average family probably has 3.5 people in it. So there we are, back to that 5%. So what that tells me is there's only 5% of the people in the world who are ambitious, trusting enough, and willing to do what it takes to become a millionaire. And that's why there's only 5% of the population, 1.5% of the world's population that are millionaires, because the rest of them, the rest of the 98.5, aren't willing to make an effort. So, okay, there you go. So what I'm going to do now is I took GLBE and I gave that to put it on my prompt that is 4 pages long, and said, okay, Samantha, analyze it and give me, and she gave me a 33-page document about this very unique company, and indicated to me that this is something, Kerry, you need to consider putting in your portfolio. So what I'm going to do now is I have these 5% who responded, and I have their email addresses, so I'm going to send them a link to the podcast that Bart and Samantha made for me to explain what GLBE is and why it's going to more than double over the next 3 years. And so those of you who sent me your email address, expect it in the email sometime today. And I encourage you, go to the link, listen to the podcast that they create. And again, understand the podcast is a summary of the 33-page document that tells everything in detail about GLBE. Now, I don't share that with anybody because that's my intellectual property. That's what separates Best of Us investors from Morgan Stanley and Fidelity and Vanguard. That's why I'm outperforming. That's why I'm at 139% in the last 6 months, and the S&P is at 26.88, because what that prompt, artificial intelligence, has produced for me. To give you an idea, today I'm up over 3%. So take whatever your portfolio's worth and multiply it times 3%, and that's how much I am up. More actually than that. It's more like 3.5% today. And what, as people have told me, I'm making more in a day off my portfolio with Samantha, Bart, and Kerry's, and Mark, and Trent's information than I make in a year off of my day job. I had a lady say, because of what you've taught me in the last 3 months, I paid my mortgage off 18 months early. I'm a school bus driver, and now I can see retirement. This is a new way to invest. I would say it's not really new. Wall Street's been doing it, but they have restrictions. They can't go into some of the stocks that I can. They probably can't even go into GLBE because it's so small. But it's solving a problem that a major part of our world has, and has no other opportunity to solve it. Listen to the podcast. You're going to be shocked. For those of you who didn't send me your email address, you have two ways to see it. You can either join the tribe and come to my tell sheet, and you'll find it there under GLBE. Or the reality is you're part of the 98.1%, and you're on your own. Talk to you more about things like this in the coming weeks.